Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI for Good Innovation Factory. My name is Josh Choi from the ITU, International Telecommunication Union. And I have the privilege of introducing today's Innovation Factory session. For those who are not familiar with the ITU, and I just wanted to introduce a little bit about the ITU. The ITU is the United Nations Specialized Agency for ICTs, which stands for Information and Communication Technologies. And we are also the organizer of the AI for Good Global Summit in partnership with 38 UN sister agencies and co-convened with Switzerland government. The Innovation Factory is a program launched last year under the flagship initiative AI for Good Global Summit. And it is an online pitching platform for startups to help promising startups to grow and scale their innovative AI-powered and SDG-driven solutions through the introduction of their solutions to investors and governments and big IT companies who should be the potential partners of the startups, so that the startups can scale up their solutions and they can apply the technical solution to any initiative and program project run by an interested party, including UN and the big companies. Last year, we received more than 200 applications from 46 countries. So Innovation Factory actually showed the international and the global growth potential as a pitching platform for a startup. And we've got more than 140 applications from 35 countries within 5 sessions so far this year. And now I'm very, very happy to kickstart today's session. So I'm so glad to introduce 4 finalists today, and we have very interesting and promising startups from various fields, such as digital field and robots and clean tech and AI testing and fintech solutions, particularly for the small, medium-sized enterprise and etc. And I'm also very pleased to introduce our distinguished judges today. All our jury members are really big influencers and experts in the startups and also in the AI field, who are very, very much passionate about accelerating the growth of the startups and also accelerating innovations in the field of AI. Okay, firstly, let me introduce Mr. Michael Messbauer, who is the program manager of HECHCO Lab. So Michael, can you turn on your camera? Okay, there you go. So as this is the first time for you to join the Innovation Factory, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what HECHCO Lab does and what is your role in HECHCO Lab, please.
Sure, pleasure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm Michael. I've been working with startups for the past 8 years, both in the incubation phase and the acceleration phase, mostly supporting social entrepreneurship and circular economy projects. And for the past 2 years, I've been working with HECHCO Lab as a program manager. And at HECH, what we do in a nutshell is that we support impact tech ventures to accelerate their startup. So we support startup at the scale-up phase through a 24-month fellowship, so support that are given by mentorship experts and workshops. And we also help you to achieve fundraising. So in a nutshell, this is me and us, and feel free to reach out in the message if you have more questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. As far as I know, the HECHCO Lab is one of the leading accelerator based in Switzerland, and they are helping a lot of interesting startups from all different fields, particularly in the field of the social impact. And thank you very much for you joining us. And then I also believe that there must be very interesting opportunities between startups today and the HECHCO Lab, so that you guys also can think about potential future collaboration as well. Thank you very much again. And let's move to Mr. Joseph K. Hopkins, and he is the founder and the senior managing partner of the iPrestige Merge Fund. And actually, it must be quite early in the morning in your time. So thank you very much for your time. So Joseph, also please give us a short self-introduction, and also as you have been advising a lot of startups, particularly in the deep tech area, also advising for the IP field. Share your thoughts on what are the really big challenges, particularly for startups who want to use and adapt and apply AI in their business, and then what is your main advice?
Great. Nice to see you again, Josh, and welcome everyone. It's early here in California, so I'm always happy to attend a UN Innovation Factory session. I run a few companies. One company is we call, as Josh mentioned, iPrestige Fund. That's a company that we largely invest in emerging startups like yourself, but largely deep tech type firms. The other company we manage is a company called Phalanx Technologies. That company is an advisory technology firm. So companies will hire us to come in and give them advice in terms of their technology they're developing and give them direction in terms of how to get it to the marketplace. Where our really cool sweet spot is with that company is IP valuation. So companies will hire us to actually come in, look at their intellectual property, and then we will actually, their entire portfolio, will actually provide them a very, very robust report. These are very expensive reports, but they're very useful for their investors and also for lending purposes. And then the last company that I also manage is a company by which we help companies actually secure funding. So in fact, I was on a call with one of the companies that appeared back in April regarding some opportunities from a financing perspective. So we actually help companies get financing, and we've got about $425 million or so of financing opportunities going on right now. So we're very, very busy, very excited to be with you folks. So as I was thinking about some of the top challenges for AI relative to 2020 as it relates to startups, just a few that came to mind. One was around computing power. So although none of you folks are trying to, identify asteroids and figure out where they're going to land relative to planet Earth, which would require you largely to have a supercomputer. At the end of the day, you are, in fact, dealing with machine learning, deep learning relative to their algorithms and the models, and that takes computing power core as well as GPU. And for the most part, most of you are probably tapping into like some kind of a cloud service, whether AWS or Azure. So it's very costly. And so I think as a startup, you want to be conscious of those costs, and you want to make sure that you can plan those costs in advance, particularly as you're largely trying to raise money. The other one I thought about is also one called trust deficit. So trust deficit is really around how do you take this massive amount of data and then input it right into your model for the purpose of training that model and for the purpose of trying to influence a model to come up with the results that is going to be used to solve multiple business type endeavors. That is not easy for most laymen to understand. And frankly, most people look at companies who claim to be AI, and some of them don't actually believe that you're doing AI. Some think you're just using it as a tagline because it's somewhat trendy. So I think one of the challenges I think for startups is you need to make sure that you can confidently talk about your machine learning, your deep learning models, how you train them, the types of data that you're using, so that you can give companies, your clients, confidence that what you're saying is actually true. The other one is around limited knowledge. So keep in mind here, all of the folks that are on this call probably live and breathe to some degree AI. Most folks, for the most part, laymen, don't even understand AI. So there's a very limited knowledge. So one of the things I think startups should also be doing is trying to evangelize and educate their clients, their customers in terms of what AI is. And then I'll just share one other with you, and this is an important factor, and that's around what I call data scarcity. So if you think about the powers to be, whether it's Microsoft or Google or Facebook, what have you, Apple, these companies have done a really good job relative to capturing personal data and holding on to it. So data is becoming fairly scarce these days. And as a result of that, I think getting data is becoming much more challenging than it has in the past. And so data scarcity, in my view, is also leading folks to now depend on getting localized data and trying to use that data to solve world problems, if you will, or world solutions, or trying to come up with products that are really designed for world solutions. So if you're not careful, you can actually inadvertently start to put bias in your models because you're using localized data for world purposes, and you want to be careful with that as well. Okay, so those are some of the challenges I think I wanted to share with the group, and I just think that the best thing for folks to do is to not try to act in isolated fashion. Try to reach out to bigger companies that are doing it. There's lots of service providers that are out there now, and try to leverage as much as you can to try to save yourself money, and also trying to also pick up and increase your learning curve, because I think that'll help you get to market quicker. So thanks so much.
Well, thank you very much. You're really invaluable, an insight and thoughts and advice, especially, well, I also definitely, agree that the data and algorithms and, tech and the computing powers is really fundamental elements for the AI, business. So I think, the startup should be really equipped with a certain really capability to how to manage the data, how to make their own, really unique algorithm design, and also how to manage the computing power. So basically, well, these are several challenges, but also there must be also a lot of opportunities as well. So let us see how the startups today are really trying to solve this solution, these challenges, and also come up with the very interesting solutions to use their own unique capability of using the AI to solve the problem. So thank you very much again. All right, and actually we were supposed to have one more the jury today, the Melissa Sassi, who's from the IBM Startup Program Manager, but she just sent a message just before. She got a very urgent issues today, so unfortunately we are not able to have her. But actually, well, today, and the Giuseppe and the Mikael can give a lot of contributions today as a judge here. All right, so I'm very excited to move on to the pitching competition today. Okay, before moving on, I'd like to inform all the audience that there is a chat functionality, so everybody can leave some comments and questions. Even you guys can leave questions specifically for the specific startup. So after they pitch, also they can actually share their answers through the chat room as well. So please make sure to set the messaging recipient to all panelists and attendees, and not just to all panelists. You can select this just above the message box here. Okay, so let's move on to the first session, first pitches. So first stage is for tactics. So tactics is actually robotics startups that they present a swarm of robots that collaboratively hunt for litter on the beach. So originally called the beach bot and map. And then they are designed to operate in outdoor areas, like beaches and parks. So their robots are programmed with artificial intelligence, which enables them to efficiently map and collect litter and detecting and acting at the same time. So now the Edwin joined here as a co-founder of Tactics, and Edwin, floor is yours. And you have 5 minutes pitch and 10 minutes Q&A. So please go on.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please turn on your video as well.
Yeah, I can start my video.
Okay, so perhaps one of our operator can allow him to open the video, and then, okay, anyway, can you share your screen? Okay, yeah, we can see you.
All right.
Okay, yeah, please do the screen share.
Yes, so my name is Edwin Bos. I'm from Tactics, startup based in The Hague, the Netherlands. And before I kick off my pitch, I would like to share a 50-second video with you. Yes. So I think that sums up our concept in a nutshell. Basically, we as humankind are making a big mess of the world we live in. There's a lot of littering going on worldwide, and we need to stop that. And I think there are multiple ways to do that. And of course, we as a company that's working on tech for good solutions, and especially robotics, we could come up with a robotic solution to clean up other people's mess. But that's not what we intend to do, because we also want to change behavior. So that's why we're building this platform where people can train the AI, train the robot detection algorithm in order to make the robot smarter. And this way, I think we can have a win-win situation, because on the one hand, we are proving data sets of litter worldwide. So then we can go to the producers and municipalities to show them what litter is out there and act on it. And on the other hand, we can work on awareness, because when people are using our game apps, we have a beta version of an app and also a VR app. They can not only help the robot to become smarter, but also we can give them information about the effects of littering. And that way, hopefully work on the awareness. So then it works both ways. And not only can we give municipalities and other people the assets to do better monitoring and better beach cleanup, but also we are making sure that we stop it at the source. We currently have 3 prototype robots in place. And we already showed in the Netherlands on the beach of Scheveningen, where I live close by, how one of our robots could not only detect cigarette butts, but also pick them up. And next to that, we have 2 monitoring robots. And we also showed that this summer, how that works and how the public could interact with the robot to make them smarter. So from this point on, we want to go to the proof of concept stage. And do that together with the wider audience. So we not only in the Netherlands, but also worldwide, we already have a lot of interest, for instance, from Israel to the Maldives, of people who are interested in our concept to not only have the robots on their beaches to clean the beach and monitor the beach, but also they're interested in the concept to have the audience that's out there, let them help to improve it. It's a big market, the beach cleanup market's around 250 billion worldwide. So obviously we want to be a piece of the puzzle and make sure that with our full concept, we can add some value there. Our team consists of mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, AI consultants, VR specialists, and together with my co-founder Martijn, who is our CTO, I'm responsible for communication and marketing. We have a strong team and making progress in the past 18 months, step by step. And I'm very much looking forward to get your feedback, because one of the weaker points in our concept is still the business model. Because this is not, I would say, your typical solution where I would say we have a product and people can buy our robots to clean up the beach. It's a full concept where that you have to believe in and make sure that you not only want to have a robotic solution, but also an awareness solution. And that's where we have to find ways to make that as interesting as possible for the people who want to buy it, but also for ourselves to make it good value for money. So this way I want to reach out also to people who are interested to cooperate with us and work with us to make this idea stronger. And that way, work on improving the SDGs, especially SDG 14 and 15 that we're focusing on to get our solution out there. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, or do I have to fill the 5 minutes?
You were really on time, so let us start with the question and answer. So Joseph and Mikhail, so anyone of you guys can start with the question.
Sure, I don't mind starting. Thank you, Edwin, for the presentation and in the small videos. You were mentioning that you still are defining new business models, but I was wondering if you have already identified the main beneficiaries or potential customers who will be potentially buying. Would it be more municipalities, private resort, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it can be both. So we already have the interest of several municipalities. So it started in our hometown, The Hague, where the municipality is closely following what we're doing. And they would especially be interested in the monitoring part. So helping them to gain more knowledge about what litter is out there and have a better data set so that the tractors that they are currently have to go back and forth over the beach to clean up the litter, have a better understanding also of the smaller litter that is out there. So for them, the monitoring part and data set part is interesting. On the other hand, we also have a few prospects from beach resorts worldwide. So 2 years ago, like pre-COVID, we were in Las Vegas at the CES, and we got a lot of interest from the small beach resorts, like I said, at the Maldives, but also from Dubai and from Israel. People are especially interested in a small cleaning robot that can recognize the small litter and pick it up. So therefore, it could also be interesting to focus on that. But for us, that would be, there's a large time span to have a full autonomous operating beach cleaning robot. So our first focus is on the monitoring part, because that can go much quicker. And we see that there's also then, where we can have a multiple approach with also the awareness part. So that when we have the monitoring robots out there, we can activate the public to help those robots that they see and make sure that they improve their detection algorithm.
Thank you.
Edwin, nice to meet you. Ambitious goal in terms of cleaning up beaches. Lord knows we need them cleaned up. So congratulations in that endeavor. A question for you regarding your overall market approach. And I realize it sounds like your go-to-market strategy is still under review.
Yes.
From a development perspective. Which markets are you targeting? Have you figured out which markets you want to try to target initially?
Yes, so we are based in the Netherlands, so obviously that would be makes most sense. So we do feel that, of course, this is a complete new solution. So this also takes time to get to know partners and potential prospects. So in the Netherlands, we're working hard to have a better relationship with all the parties that are already out there in the beach cleaning area, beach cleaning field. So we now have a partnership, for instance, with the North Sea Foundation, and together with them, we did 3 demos over the summer with the beach robots next to their beach cleanup tour. So that way also to get the public and also our partners to learn on what we are doing, and that way, sliding into this new market. So I think we first want to do that in the Netherlands, understand how this works, and understand their needs, especially on monitoring. They're already doing monitoring, but that's all manually. So we want to understand more about all the methods that they are using and how we can integrate that into our robots. And when we have a good feeling about how that all works, then we can move over, of course, to Belgium, France, Spain. But our first beachhead market, so to say, is the Netherlands.
Okay. So Netherlands and Europe. I had a couple more questions regarding your robots. How many do you have now, and are your robots actually mature at this point?
Yes, so we have one beach robot, the BeachBot. That is the prototype we developed a year and a half ago. That robot can detect and also grab, but it's still a bit fragile. And the robots that we made last year are 2 mapping robots that only focus on monitoring, and they are definitely more robust. And our first focus is now on making them even more robust so that we can do more pilots with potential customers. And we already have the interest of the Blue Flag organization, which is also in the Netherlands, but also worldwide. And they are like this trademark for clean beaches. And they want to do a pilot with us on one of the beaches in the Netherlands to maybe take over the manual work.
Okay, all right. And that's my last question. I know we're getting short on time here. Is I'm assuming you're for profit, and if so, how do you plan on making money doing this?
Yes, so the goal is to have a robot as a service. Yeah, that way people can hire our robots. So we will be like an agency for hiring robots, and have we already have a few calculations on what the price would then be. But like I said, this is still under investigation, and have to make sure that we get a better understanding of the market to come up with the exact price.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I have just a quick follow-up question if we still have time. Can you tell me a bit more about your team? How big is this team? How many people are involved? Are you the solo founder? So just to have a bit more information on that.
Yes, so me and Martijn Lukaert are the co-founders. And other than that, we have 4 people on the payroll in the field of machine learning, AI, and electrical engineering. And next to that, we are currently still working with a lot of external consultants that we hire per project and per phase, also depending on the money that's currently within our company. But so far so good. And now we still have also a few subsidies and grants, and we won a nice prize last year from the Plastic Soup Foundation. And that is all helping to gradually innovate.
Wonderful, thank you. And if you can disclose it, how long is your run rate like until your next funding round?
Yes, for now we have until next April.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your presentation, Edwin, and thank you for the Q&A. And also thanks to our judges for asking us a lot of interesting questions. So great, thank you very much. Okay, so let's move on to the second pitch. Okay, the Payland Africa. So okay, Eleutherius, so the co-founder of the Payland Africa, and it's now your stage. So Eleutherius, if you're ready, and please share your presentation here.
Hi everyone. So I hope you can see my screen. So my name is Eleutherius Juma. I am the CEO and co-founder for Payland Africa. At Payland, we have digitized the black book used by micro, small, and medium enterprises to record credit that they give to their customers. And on top of this tool, we have also built a number of other tools that makes the retailer. Let's get started. Growing up in Africa, my mom used to send me to John's shop, which basically was the shop that served the neighborhood where I grew up. And every time she did this, she did not give me the cash to take to John, but I'd always come back with the good that my mom has sent me, either bread, milk, or butter. Then every time during this time, John would always record this either on a piece of paper or a book that basically he called a black book. Few weeks later, my mom would pay John the money that she owes him. But the problem lies in the fact that every time I go back to my neighborhood, John's shop is still the same. The inventory is still the same. The shop is still in the same state. The only difference is that John's shop is being run by the son. And this is due to the fact that they lack transactional data. John does not understand the exact value of his shop. And also, fund accessibility is not there for John. So Payland comes in to ensure that such kind of transactions that John performs on a daily basis, either cash or credit, they are recorded. This helps John understand the exact value of his shop and makes it easy for him to access funds within the Payland ecosystem. Hence, John's shop will experience growth over the same period of time, thanks to the Payland solution. So with this product, we aim to target 1.3 billion people in Africa, served by 100 million plus micro, small, and medium enterprises. Basically, we are predominantly in Kenya, where the population is served by 7 million plus MSMEs, and we plan to expand to Nigeria, South Africa, and Zambia, which have a total of 45 million plus micro, small, and medium enterprises. Basically, how our product works is that my mom will have to subscribe to John's premise by paying a monthly subscription fee. Then John, the business owner, would set a credit limit for my mom, who now can access goods worth this amount that has been set by John during the subscription period. With all the data that we collect from this transaction, we are able to extend credit to John, the shop owner, or the customer, who in this case is my mom. So our product currently is accessible via the USSD. It's also accessible via the mobile app. And also we have a web portal that the customers can use to access our platform. How we have priced our products: number one, we have the subscription model where my mom had to pay the shop. Then this amount is shared between the shop and Payland at a ratio of 3:7. Then we also have a 5% late repayment fee on the credit offered. Then we charge a 3% commission on each transaction. Say if John transacts money from his Payland account to his bank account, we charge a 3% commission on that. Our traction to date, so far we have 7,000 users using our mobile app and USSD. We have 2,500 outlets, that is shops. And also we have some strategic partnerships with TVET, which is a vocational training students, a vocational training institute in Kenya, which has 900,000 members. We are currently onboarding them based on different counties. We also have strategic partnership with Adenian Labs, which is an incubation lab for startups here in Nairobi. Then why people would use Payland is because, number one, we have made it easy for them to access funds, that is for the shop and the shoppers. And these funds come interest-free, so we do not charge an interest on the funds that we extend to the shops and the shoppers. Also, we have an intelligent way of scoring our users on who qualifies for what amount of credit. So our main focus is on building our platform on blockchain and also having AI integration within our system where we can be able to credit to score our users based on their transactions, and also to have a recommendation engine that is able to cluster our clients based on their spending and whatnot. And also, we intend to use AI for predictive marketing. For next year, we plan to enter into Zambia, Nigeria, and South Africa, and target to have a customer base of 5 million with 1 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. For our team, we have myself, Bendon also as a co-founder. We have John Kamara, who is the founder of Africa Intelligence Center of AI Center of Excellence, and also he is the CEO and founder for Adenian Labs Africa. We also have Irene Kiwia as a co-founder, who is also the founder for Frontline Media, a very successful media house in Tanzania, and basically she handles all our marketing. So currently we are in our seed round looking to raise 2 million for 20% stake in our company. And we believe we will be the first African fintech to digitize the diverse financial cultures that exist within our continent. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Eleutherius. Thank you very much for your presentation. Okay, so now let's move on to Q&A session. So please ask a question from Jochi. Anyone who would like to ask questions, just turn on your video and just start your question. Okay, Joseph, you're first.
Good morning. Pronounce your name again. I don't want to destroy it. I apologize.
Eleutherius Juma. Yes,
great,
Juma.
Great. Okay, very good. So it sounds like you're doing a few things here. One is you're trying to establish credit for people in terms of on behalf of creditors. You're also lending money. Is that correct? You're actually providing a credit line to customers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And where are those funds coming from? Do you have relationships with local banks or lending institutions? How are you securing those funds that you then can loan to people who are using your platform?
So currently we are the ones financing the credit bit.
Okay.
So basically, it comes from the initial capital that we have been having. And also, that's why currently we are operating on a limited scope. We have not gone all in into lending this credit. The entire country, we are basically focused in Nairobi currently, Nairobi County, the capital city of Kenya.
Okay, all right. I was curious, if I was to ask you, what is the fundamental problem your platform is solving? What would that be? It sounds like you're digitizing a manual kind of operation that varies from user to user. You also, sounds like also, lending money for folks who need money. And then you're also trying to, I think, establish credit as well. So is that correct? What's the main problem your platform is trying to solve? Or it sounds like there could be multiple problems.
So the core problem is that most micro, small, and medium enterprises in Africa have experienced stunted growth. And this has happened over the decades. And if you speak to anyone who has been raised in a neighborhood in Africa, they'll tell you that that shop that served them the most, it's still in the same state. So basically what we are doing is we are trying to help these shops using a digital way to understand the value of their shops, because you find they have a credit model that they use with their customers. So basically we are digitizing this and also helping them get access to funds. Now that the data has been digitized and it has been stored in a central place, it's very easy to go through the data, to analyze the data and understand that we can actually lend this shop this amount of money.
Okay, I'll ask one more question, then maybe Mikhail wants to join in. Is your goal to effectively stay and operate in Africa, or is your goal to potentially expand outside of Africa?
So our entry, we plan to focus on Africa first. Then from there now we can expand to other markets that we find have some area of synergy with our product.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eleutherius, for your time, and thank you, Jose, for the question. You had similar one, but a quick one to follow up. I was wondering what was the reaction of the final customers, like in this case, your mom, that she has to pay a fee each month to use the product from these SMEs. What's the rationale behind it? Aren't you worried that limit their power parity purchase?
I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah. Eleutherius? I don't think we can hear you.
Eleutherius?
He's gone.
Yeah, but yeah,
Sorry.
he comes back. He comes back. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
So, okay, because can you repeat your question again? So I can give a little bit more time. Okay. So because of the accident, no problem. Yeah.
So my question was, I was wondering what was the reaction of the final customers in this case, for example, your mom, when she has to pay a subscription fee each month, wouldn't that reduce her power parity purchase?
So we have two models. The first one is where the shopkeeper will actually digitize the model that he has been having. For this example, the shopkeeper that served us will retain the culture that they've been having with my mom, where my mom will have to pay the 30 shillings upfront as a subscription fee. Then we also have the model where Payland prepays for my mom, but we do not just prepay for them on day one. So they first have to maintain the relationship with the shops that they buy from, maybe the grocery, the local shop that she buys the flour, milk, and whatnot. Then from that data now, we can understand that we can actually prepay for Juma's mom up to 1,000 or up to 500. So there are two models, and the shopkeepers and the users are willing to use it after they understand that with after a given period of time, Payland will be able to prepay for them so long as they maintain the discipline of always paying in time. So the reception was good.
All right. Thank you for the time and the clarification.
Okay, welcome.
Okay, so it seems like the allow judges and fish the questions. And Eleutherius, actually there is a one webinar attendee who left a comment asking, commenting that they're interested in discuss opportunity for Angola and Mozambique. So you can also answer to the questions and you guys can have a chat separately. I think it must be also quite interesting opportunity for both of you. So that's great, just for your information, right?
Exactly,
Cool.
I'll follow up with that.
Excellent, thank you very much. Okay, so thanks again, Eleutherius, and also, yeah, well, actually we had a Africa session a couple of months ago, and focused on some African startups, and then we received more than 40 different applications from certain different countries, and then we are so fascinated by the different ideas, innovations from African startups, and particularly we witnessed that there are lots of fintech solutions, particularly to bridge the gap, to help the people, unbanked people, to connect to the banking services, and also helping SMEs digitize their operations and everything. So I think your business model also has a very good potential of the growth in your region, but also in other developing economies as well. So good luck to you. All right. Okay. So let's move to the third pitching, which will be done by the Delft Imaging. Okay. So we have Enya, who is the
yes.
The founder.
Hi. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Okay. So as a short introduction from my side, the Delft Imaging developed a solution called the Baby Checker, which is innovative and the first of its kind solutions that combines an AI, where to go? Yeah, AI software using an algorithm to automatically detect some of the highest, prenatal risk of, and then on an affordable smartphone-based portable ultrasound and dedicated to making pregnant people safer. Okay, so stage is yours. Please go on.
Thank you. Yeah, a good segue from the innovations that are happening in Africa, because we're all an Africa's solution, at least with. So what I'm addressing here is that 1,000 women and near 70% of the world, very important facts are preventable. High maternal mortality is very representative of a lack of prevention, referral level to the hospital, and this is the point of so in all it's very pregnancy experience. If you know any women that's been pregnant, she's probably had a couple of ultrasound scans. Josh, I see your camera's on. Is there
No, I just wanted to know that your poor connection is only applied for me, or is it okay for our judges? Because if your connection is poor, perhaps our judges hardly can hear your voice. Everybody's okay, or?
We can hear it on the side.
Yeah, it was pretty broken earlier, but it sounds like she was much better here toward the end.
All right. Okay. Let's move on. So then, okay, great. Thanks. Sorry for the interrupting.
Sorry about that, guys. I hope I can push it. No worries. So the problem with the uptake of ultrasound in Africa, knowing all the benefits, is the absence of sound itself. Absence of trained medical care needed ultrasound. Pricing and the trained ultrasound are also barriers for the uptake of it in Africa. So with point care at the country level, some women have to travel for hours to and cause no fatal consequences. So with city professionals, especially at the point of care, community can accelerate shifting towards community health workers to empower them to make pregnancies safer. Baby Checker, it's a system-based, ultra-powered AI to support the detection of risky pregnancies, community health workers, timely referrals for those risky pregnancies. As Baby Checker designed it for
Anya?
taken of the app, and then the results are scanning that list as we get. Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Well, yeah, I can hear you now, but everybody's okay because actually, yeah, it's like, so I'm not sure if you can connect with the wired connection instead of Wi-Fi, or if you can find any better place, because I mean, it is quite hard for us to actually understand what you're saying here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so what about doing this?
But
what about doing this? Maybe we can move on to the next theme. So in the meantime, you try to find any solution, as I said, to find another, connectivity or something. And then you can connect as a last pitching. Does it sound okay? Because otherwise, I mean, it would be a little bit unfair to you, because actually we cannot hear you quite clearly, and then we cannot do really proper evaluation, and we cannot really get the idea of your solution. So, well, I can give you a little bit of a time for you to fix your connectivity and then connect them. So, is it okay also for the other team?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Srinivas, right? Okay. So
yes.
Maybe you can start now, and then in the meantime, okay. So we hope the Anya's connectivity would be better, and then please go on. Well, does it sound okay for you guys? Mikhail and Joseph, would it be fine?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no worries at all. Thank you for that. Yep.
Okay, great.
Hopefully she can get a better connection.
Yeah, I hope so. Definitely. Okay. So yeah, Srinivas, please go on.
Okay. Thanks for this opportunity. And let me introduce our company, testaing.com. We are a company focused on what we call as ensuring trustworthy AI. In fact, what is surprising is what Joseph mentioned about AI solutions, right? The three problems he mentioned about the data scarcity, the data bias, and also things related to overall trust deficit. And that's exactly the problem we are in the space. We are a horizontal platform for ensuring trustworthy AI. So I have with me my co-founders, Nilima and Vipul Kochar, CEO and co-founder. Nilima is Chief Engineering. So this is just to introduce the team who is on the call right now. So to briefly give you an idea of the problem, what we feel is while AI, as we've seen, is really mainstream in a lot of solutions, as we've seen already in different startups, and already we're seeing global acceptance. But what we feel is exactly what Joseph mentioned at the start, which is namely the bottom pile in the pile we're showing here, trust deficit. There are lots and lots of issues with respect to current deployment of AI solutions. And if you look at the data and the AI related problems, they are also, because of the trust deficit, they are manifesting themselves in several different accidents. And it's sad that at a time when AI is a great technology which can be used for the overall social good and producing very innovative solutions for overall improvement of mankind itself, we are seeing this negative what you call the so-called implications of non-rigorous testing of AI, which leads to issues like accidents maybe leading to loss of life, accidents leading to withdrawal of a tool because of its biasness, like the Amazon hiring tool, or maybe because of the poisoning of the content by security attacks, which causes it to be brought down because of its being able to not detect the security attacks, or in case of certain aspects not being able to detect the right classes in the right way. For example, in the beach example, which we saw earlier, if suppose it detected, a nail as a cigarette butt, it's the wrong idea, right? So ideally, there are sometimes these accidents are not so harmful, sometimes they are harmful. But as you can see, if you have to make a technology like AI actually deliver in a successful manner, we need to be aware that we need to take dialogue from AI accidents to AI successes. And that is what we went around finding the solution for it. So because of our background, a core team, we are very big in testing and AI, we said, why don't we investigate? And then we saw that the root cause of the trust deficit comes from key issues like data scarcity, which actually Joseph mentioned about, right? Data bias, this again Joseph mentioned. Then a lot of times we have very complex models which are not necessarily fully understood by the end users on whom the AI is applied. So for example, if you deny somebody a credit card based on a complex AI model, can you help him understand what part of his profile is responsible for why he was denied a credit card? And lastly, this is coming from a tester's perspective, is that why we want to see the problem of, why accidents are happening. The accidents are happening because it is not possible to probably train the whole AI systems on the whole range of coverage of scenarios which are real time. So that is basically what we went about figuring out, that how do you solve this problem? And our solution is about bringing a test first approach to AI deployments so that we are able to increase the acceptability of AI and reduce fears of AI, and thereupon create a responsible AI deployment. So with that, we also went about seeing, is it really there as a market? We found that there's a huge potential, because if you have to really increase the success rate of AI, we have to reduce the failure rate of AI deployments, reduce AI, increase acceptability of AI. So this is what our platform does. So what our platform does is, in a sense, solves the problem of responsible AI by reducing the risk by testing for the models before they're deployed on these dimensions. The first dimension, which is very important for especially mission critical areas like healthcare, insurance, etc., is transparency. So we bring transparency into the model by explainable AI. Then we look at corner cases discovery of the models by security attack vectors. Today, there's a new hacker breed in town. What they're doing is they're taking an image, they're kind of manipulating slightly and causing the evasion of something like, let's say, AI-based security solution. And that is a security attack. So a new kind of security attack vector is also in town. So we need to make sure that we need to audit the models for security. Then fairness and bias, like already Joseph mentioned, that's again a big problem. And this is exactly where we want to make sure that the AI solutions coming out are conformant to, there are multiple SDGs related to fairness around gender, etc. And that is something we feel there is a huge problem in the current AI deployments. So, but what the solution is? The solution is an end-to-end testing framework for AI, which can handle testing of all of these aspects before the AI model is deployed. So our framework is a horizontal technology, which is a set of test algorithms and routines, which takes any AI model and audits it for transparency, audits it for security attacks, audits it for privacy leakages, and audits for bias. But at the same time, one of the other aspects, which is basically the reason why a lot of times we see accidents, is the lack of coverage. Coverage means, are you able to cover a lot of real life scenarios in your training model? And that is where we try to complement it with two kinds of approaches. One is technical approaches to understanding what are the corner cases in the input which are not covered by your training. So we try to generate training variants which are potentially simulating the real life corner cases which are not adequately represented by current model. So what we do is we try to create a we are trying to file a lot of patents in this domain where we're talking about coverage-based analysis of a model so that we create a more robust set of training data which can help the overall coverage and thereupon be ensuring that it allows for succeeding in the corner cases. So that given, we also are embarking upon another shortage we feel is a problem in terms of inefficient models is the lack of sufficient data. So that's where we also have test data augmentation techniques to help augment your training data so that you can generate more and more synthetic data to augment your real data for your localized requirements so that it can give you a better model and a more robust model. And lastly, in terms of performance, we see that when you try to look at testing of any AI model, performance is not limited to only testing for the accuracy. It's also about how does it perform in respect to how many people are trying to load it. So we see there are these 7 factors: transparency, privacy, bias, security, coverage, data sufficiency, and performance. These are the 7 pillars on which our framework is based. We work on all kinds of input data, which is ultimately going to help you in generating a transparent, unbiased, secure, and well-tested implementation. So in terms of the market size, we see that if you look at from a calculation of the overall market size,
Sorry to interrupt you. Actually, you have 30 seconds left.
Sure. So my market opportunity is, I would say, 1/8 of around 1,000 billion. And that's quite a large opportunity because testing is about a significant percentage of AI market. In terms of what our team, I want to show you is we have a team out of which 2 of them here, and we have a well-rounded team with AI and testing specialists, compete with some of the biggies in this domain. And this is where our roadmap is. And what we seek the funding for is primarily for scaling our current product to larger markets. And our product market strategy is currently looking at what we say, primarily looking at more compliance-oriented markets. So with that, our goal is to basically ensure a horizontal deep tech auditing model for any AI deployment. We can help work in mainly more and more conformance requirements or legal requirements kind of dominated verticals. So with that, we want to pitch our thing for this session so that we can scale up our company.
Okay, you done?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. All right, so question time. So Joseph opened the video first, earlier than Mikhail. So Joseph, you can start.
Wow, you must have got a hold of my notes, my friend.
That's what I was actually nostalgic when you talked about these and said you have already pitched for me.
Yeah, well, I must tell you that this obviously resonates with me and hopefully with the other startups that are on the call as well. Yeah, I think the reason I like what you're saying is because I think you can help bring credibility to what folks are trying to do in AI. Exactly. Which I think is helpful. The 2 areas actually I didn't even mention my opening comments was around this whole data privacy and security, because people are needing to get lots of data, as you know, for these large data sets and from different disparate parts, if you will, across the globe. And data security is huge because they have to really make sure that they can get that in a way by which that data is not getting leaked and being used for other purposes. So that becomes, and there's a whole strategy around how to do that in smaller segments to protect it, right? And then the other ones that I loved is what I call kind of like the human level, where, I constantly run across people doing these, having like these AI solutions whereby which, they can tell the difference between, like, say, blonde hair or red hair or black hair. And they tend to be just more academic type things and they're not necessarily real world commercial endeavors per se. And the other thing I ran across, and you touched it, is around accuracy, which I think your platform could be huge. And so talk to me about that a little bit. One of the things I've said about folks that are doing AI is how can they convince people that what their algorithms are actually producing accurate results? And I think many of these startups simply don't have the cash to really support that. Maybe a company like yours can help them sort of do that. And this is why I think linking up with service providers such as yourself can actually help them improve accuracy as a whole. Comment on that a little bit for me.
Yeah. So we are very much aware of the fact that we want to be there at every AI deployment out there. So what we have seen is in any AI project where there is some limitation of the current randomized testing, we include our approach, and it automatically helps them in improving the overall accuracy, overall security, and overall deployment coverage. So I think the strategy we are also taking is, just wanted to give you a heads up on current market strategy, is we are partnering with large system integrators across the globe. Like some of the names which we are discussing include Deloitte, or including things like some of the major companies like what you call as Bosch. And we are actually taking this to market along with system integrators, because what we feel is they develop a lot of AI solutions for a lot of global companies, and we want to be there in the midst of their life cycle.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I think you've identified your markets. One last question. I think Mikhail probably wants to jump in, and that's around where are you folks from a commercialization perspective? Are you actually out there selling your services? And also with that, do you actually have a solution?
So,
do you have a software solution as well?
Yes, our solution is alpha stage for major common pipelines like image, which is very common, and text and structured data. We have a product up and running. We already have deployed at 3 different pilots, and we already have signed SI partnerships with 4 global SIs who are taking them to Netherlands, Germany, and one is a global SI. Another one, which is about to be signed, is taking it to very focused UK and other European countries. Because our market strategy, as you can see, is very much driven by where is the maximum bang for the buck, which is basically where there is more legislative compliance. And I feel it's going to happen globally as we speak, that there will be mandatory AI audit step as we go forward to make more and more AI accountability. But we start with Europe as a major. So we have signed major partnerships with some of the SIs in Europe to start with, but we are expanding to other areas if you have partners who are more than happy. And also one offer from our side, any AI startup, even here or otherwise, we are very glad to help them improve their AI product quality by auditing them and helping our output help them do better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Srinivas. A quick one on my side, as Joseph covered most of my question. You have clearly identified a problem being that with AI is the lack of data, trust, scarcity, and so on. So what would you say to your customer to ensure that they can trust your AI to verify their AI?
Okay, so I just want to show you a small screen of our prototype so that it gives you an idea of the action in reality. So I just want to show you that here is an example where earlier the actual class of an image was 0, but the actual model was predicting class 3, which is wrong. But after it was tuned with our product, what we did is we offered our output. The audited report came back with this additional coverage which are required. So we trained the model again and it behaved correctly. That's the proof. All the false positives, false negatives, or misclassified get corrected after we create a revised training pool with the output suggested by our tool.
Thank you. That was it on my side.
Okay, thank you very much for the excellent presentation, also interesting Q&A. And then, Srinivas, can you just stop screen sharing here?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, now the last pitching. Okay, so depth imaging. Anya, I hope you solve some kind of connectivity problem here, so, and I hope not any problem occurs again. Anya, are you ready? Anya?
Can you hear me?
Oh, it sounds like much clearer. Okay, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And please bear with me. I hope I can manage to get through all of my whole pitch. So I'll just continue from where I left off. I hope you got something, and you can see my screen. So we developed, ultimately, it's an ultrasound device that is powered by AI to detect risky pregnancies by community health workers and increase timely referrals in low-resource settings. And as Baby Checker was designed for the untrained user, it's very simple. So we do 6 sweeps that are taken with the guidance from the app. And the results are shown within a second on the app itself. So the risk factors you see are only the big MVP, and you're expanding that data-driven collaborations in the near future. So Baby Checker was designed with the core values of resource efficiency, capacity, and local empowerment. So we're low-income settings, which are community health workers, such as midwives. Baby Checker strengthens their role in the community and improves the role that the clinic plays in those communities. So would be completely left out of these medical innovations due to various barriers like pricing and training and unavailability of medical professionals. And what that would mean is they don't access technology like AI, like ultrasound, it's perpetuating a digital divide at the cost of pregnant women and their unborn child. We also observed in countries like Ethiopia, where we ran a pilot, that Baby Checker stimulated natal care demand. So touching upon points. So while innovations in ultrasound technology have made the technology more portable, it's someone with the skills to, and the goal not to have that prerequisite more equitable. We also we haven't launched this yet, but this is what we have in mind. It's a paper scan model. And we want to give also micro entrepreneurship opportunities to the users, so community health workers, to help them generate an income through their own paper scan scheme. Complications that are not identified and only become apparent during the delivery process are very costly to healthcare systems, especially in rural Africa. Since emergency measures have to be taken, prevention is a massive cost saver, and what we call triage makes health initiatives a lot more cost efficient. With AI and Baby Checker in the hands of the community, we can leverage this triage process on the front line and refer risky pregnancies in a timely manner. We spent the past 5 years of extensive research and development in collaboration with a university medical center in the Netherlands and project collaborators like the Ethiopian Ministry of Health and the Lionheart Foundation. And we developed the Baby Checker prototype in 2018. We deployed it at a hospital in Ethiopia, and we collected on the performance of Baby Checker in comparison to the standard ultrasound. Basically, we crossed the feedback from the performance and usability, the data. We optimized the solution, and we deployed it in Ghana last year. We are also piloting the MVP right now. It's I'm in the middle of the connectivity is very bad. And the country mortality is the highest continent. So we're working towards a sustainable plan to scale baby checker into Africa to start with by the end of this year. Through our network as imaging and our launch checker, which was last week, we have attracted interest from health ministries that would basically distribute baby checker to their networks. Have baby checkers AI compares hardware agnostic. This is our small team. It includes a CEO of Delft Imaging and Tirona, which are two successful companies in the Netherlands involved in pioneering AI in medical imaging in developing countries. Imaging having this product called CAD for TB. So quite experienced in the field of medical imaging using AI. I myself, I'm the manager of Baby Checker, and I have experience in managing different health technologies in sub-Saharan Africa. And our team also includes a machine learning engineer leading the AI research and implementation of AI in the Baby Checker product. I hope you could hear me. And yes, I'm happy to receive any questions.
Okay, it was better than the previous you pitching, but we sometimes lost your connection. I think, and yeah, well, I could hear more clearly when you just speak, but immediately after you share the screen, and then your connection was sometimes lost. So I think you'd better, okay, close screen sharing here so that we can hear clear question. Okay, so in order to make a little bit more, a little bit fairer, and I would like to give a little bit more time for the Q&A so that the judges can understand something we might miss, so that you can explain further through the question and answer, so you can take a little bit about the advantage of a Q&A here. Okay, yeah, Joseph, can you please start?
Yeah, it's always tough when you got a bad connection, particularly when you're trying to do a presentation. So sorry you're experiencing that. So is this considered and I know this would vary, I guess, maybe by country, particularly Europe versus the US, but is this considered a medical device?
Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So at the moment, it's not considered a medical device. We're considering it more of to support and help triage. So to start with, and that's sort of how we started as well with CAD for TB, the TB software, TB detection software. So first we put it out on the market for the purpose of triage and to support health workers in making decisions to refer to a medical device. But then what we saw with CAD for TB is within a few years, when you have enough data, your AI is outperforming the medical professional. At that stage, you can become a medical device. So that's sort of the product roadmap that we have in mind with Baby Checker as well.
Okay, all right. Couple more questions if I could, and maybe Mikhail wants to jump in as well. Where are you relative to the product development? Is it completed, or is it more still a prototype?
So where we're at right now is with an MVP.
Okay.
So our MVP can detect 4 relevant risk factors. And I'm here in Sierra Leone. We've just deployed it at 5 clinics. So the next step is to make a technical report to make remarks on the performance, and then go to market by the end of this year.
Okay, all right. And then my last question, relative to your go-to-market strategy, maybe can you just talk a little bit about your target markets? I thought you were in the Netherlands. I know it seems like you're targeting Africa. So maybe talk a little bit about your target markets, number one. And then number two, your actual, what is your business model? So let's say I'm a clinic and I have an interest in ultimately, using your product, how do I go about getting it? So is there, is there a distribution, or is this going to be a B2B, or is this a B2C model? Talk to me about that as well. And if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Yeah, sure. C model, whereby can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry. So our model that we're aiming for, so the second B would be Ministry of Health, private hospital group. For example, the business we would be selling to is a private hospital group that has multiple in its network. And what they would want to do is lease the baby checkers they buy from us to their clinics to recoup the cost of buying baby checker from us. And then their users, midwives, would charge them. So the pricing model we have is $2 per scan, and in Kenya usually a woman can pay anywhere between $10 and $40 become a business, and those users becoming entrepreneurs as well. So the pay-per-scan model is something that's been done by many medical devices, especially in low-income country model as well, by Ilara Health, for example, very successful in Kenya.
Okay. And I think I may have missed it when you were talking. I think, did you comment on your market, the markets you want to target on initially? It sounds like you're going to be in Africa initially.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So Africa initially, that's just sub-Saharan Africa is where me and my team have the most experience and network. So that's, we're leveraging that for the start, especially. And in terms of target markets, the client we're aiming for start with our NGOs and private hospital group have more rural clinics in their network.
Within Africa or outside of Africa?
Within Africa.
Okay.
Yes, but NGOs can be, for example, we're working now with a Dutch NGO, and they would basically, they buy baby checker from us and they lease it to their clinics over here in Sierra Leone.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, and yeah, thank you for your time. And I'm sorry to hear with all the trouble with internet connectivity. I would have a question regarding the product itself. Do you see any potential further use in the future besides just the prevention of risky pregnancies? Would you be able to use the monitor to scan other kind of disease or problem for patients?
So the actual software is a normal ultrasound imaging software. So if someone was to have that level of training and be a clinician, for example, they could use health with 4 detectable risk factors. So if you're untrained, you can use our own app, which will at this point help you detect a risky pregnancy.
I think I got most of your answers. The sound was kind of shaky. And could you also just circle back, because you mentioned the pay-per-scan model at euros for the users, but have you already find the license fee for the clinics that will be buying the monitor itself? Or is it something that you're still working on?
It's still something that we're working on, but looking at the pricing model of other handheld portable ultrasounds, baby checker will be anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000, but we would translate that into a pay-per-scan model. So you would buy a first bundle for 2,500 scans at €2 per scan, and essentially pay 5,000 euros from the get-go and get 2,500 scans with it.
And does that price would also include the trainings for the people that will be using it?
Yeah, so essentially our training is an on-app tutorial video, and it's 1 minute long. So that's what I'm out here mainly doing. That's a big objective of my research out here is I'm basically deploying Baby Checker at these rural clinics. I'm not training them at all. They're looking at the tutorial video, and then I'm assessing how they do based on video. So far, I can disclose that it's pretty good. I don't have to do much at all. Most of them don't even speak English. So, you know, we use limited language anyway on our app and on our video, but you can, 1 minute video and then they can go ahead and do a perfect scan that our AI can analyze. And that's really amazing to see.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for the time and good luck.
Thank you very much, everyone. And sorry for my terrible connection. Thank you for bearing with me.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Anya, for your presentation. Despite the really bad connectivities, and I really, really appreciate your whole detailed explanation on your technology and business models. And then we could manage to understand what you are aiming for, and then what's the status of your the development of your technologies and everything. So thanks again. All right. Okay, so we just finished it with all these 4 pitching sessions. So it's the time for our 2 judges to have a maybe very short, last, discussion to finalize the decision. So I'm going to share you guys with another call link so that you guys, the Joseph and McCall, to mute this Zoom and also turn off your camera and then connect to another link that I'm going to share now. Then have a discussion and then finalize the discussion and then let us know.
Josh, you're sharing the link by what means?
Oh yeah, here the chat room here in Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Chat
Yeah,
room.
I will. Yeah, here we go.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So while our judges are going to have a final decision, I'm going to ask some few questions to our finalists today. See, but firstly, let me check with the. Oops, sorry. Yeah. So firstly, let me arrange this call link first. Sorry to wait, you guys. Let you wait, guys. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have some problems here. I'm very, very sorry for that. Okay. All right, so let me ask just one question to all our finalists today. So as a startup founder to actually use the AI to make an impact, what are the biggest challenges for you guys, especially in your business perspective? So let us share with your thoughts and ideas on this matter and questions, and then we go back to the final decision. So maybe we can start with Edwin.
Yeah, so I'm currently in my car up to another appointment. But what was your question again? Sorry.
Okay, so basically, I just wonder what's the actual biggest challenge from your side, especially as a startup, to deploy your AI technologies?
Well, the funny thing is that, of course, having a good detection algorithm for our robots is our main challenge. And that's also what we're experiencing and why we want to activate an audience to get a better data set to have also a better detection algorithm. So with our first endeavors, we made sure that we had a detection algorithm for cigarette butts by having over 2,500 images of cigarette butts, making sure that the robot could recognize it. But still, if you want to recognize all types of cigarette butts, there's of course many more work to do, because you have to deal with shadow cigarette butts being partly or for the most part under the scent. So we need thousands of additional images just for one litter item, and then we are only getting started. So that's why we think this whole process is very interesting. If we can activate the audience and making sure that they not only label images that we have, but also upload photos of litter items on their local beaches, then way we can really kickstart this and make sure that we have trained the algorithm together.
All right, yeah. So I think that challenges is very associated with the basically the limited resource that startups has in terms of the analytic capability of data, and then also the algorithms and everything. Well, thank you very much for your insight. And also, what about you, Elidarius? Especially you guys are actually combining blockchain and AI, right? Yeah, is there any big challenges that you're facing currently?
Yeah, thank you. So currently being a co-founder in Africa, number one, the biggest challenge that we had starting off was affording a technical specialist, a person who has vast knowledge in AI itself. And actually, after getting our first funding, we brought in an AI specialist. And now the second problem was that we used data that was open source for us to use, but basically this data was not from Africa. So the data that we used was basically from Europe and America. And you find that there was bias now when we started using actual user data from our database. So you find that the biggest challenge that we encountered was now getting data that is actually based from Africa and use this to train our models. So at first the models were biased, but with time now, we have been able to start getting data that we can rely on to use on our models and actually improve on the results on the what do we call it, on the scoring of our users in terms of giving them credit that they are worth. Then in terms of now incorporating the blockchain and AI, for blockchain, we've gone the route of partnership, and based off the previous partnership that the Adenian Lab has had with Cardano, Imago, the investment vehicle for Cardano, it also exposes us to our big talent pool for blockchain. So basically, for us in terms of blockchain, we're going to go the partnering with other labs way. So we're going to get the talent from there. But for AI, the biggest challenge was getting data that we can actually rely on at first.
Okay, thank you very much for your answers. And I think, yeah, that's also very, very important issues, particularly from your business area, also in the region as well. And then, okay, what about you, Srinivas? Especially, your business model is particularly helping startup to find the right path to the AI, right? But also, you might also have some relative challenges in deploying your solutions.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think We have been thinking about, like, can it be SaaSized? But the problem we're facing is in making it a SaaS model is the work which we do on auditing models which are specific to customers. They're very sensitive about sharing them on the cloud. Second thing is the latency which cloud offers in terms of SaaS models. There's no concept of real-time SaaS for our model, because you have to feed your model, you have to feed your data, and you generate all these corner cases, etc. It's a time-taking thing. So we have resorted to now an on-prem in proper contract with our customers so that they use it as part of their data science lifecycle. So that's a challenge. We hope to make it to SaaS someday when there is more, you can say, acceptance of cloud-based models, because here SaaSifying this solution is very difficult. So that's, I think, the biggest challenge that we face. Not to mention the computational latency that actually goes with this kind of a solution.
Yeah, sounds like a really important challenge that we have to solve. But I hope that actually you guys can really find a solution through the collaboration, cooperation within the big tech companies and the government and some other.
That's the way. That's the way.
Yeah. And then okay, and of course, you face the challenge of connectivity today, but basically there's a hole in your business model, and also you also are facing some of the really the core challenges that you might share with you. Enya?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, what was your question?
All right. So basically, we just wonder what type of the current challenges that you are facing, particularly when you're deploying AI technologies in your business.
Yeah. So for us, the biggest challenge, I would say, is that what we're doing is very pioneering. So it's very much, it's not just about putting your technology on the market, but it's about advocacy and education surrounding AI and ultrasound at the primary health level. So a lot of these clinics I'm working at the moment, they've never seen an ultrasound. And also to explain how the results can pop up in a second to them without using technical terms is a challenge of its own. For pregnant women to feel comfortable with ultrasound scan is something we also to overcome in that way. So it's launching a product like this real on it. So I wouldn't say that's too much challenge. I mean, there's a lot of advocacy going on with the World Health Organization, especially with ultrasound. I would say our biggest challenge right now would be getting the data that we need to be able to, what everyone wants us to, speaking to organizations like Doctors Without Borders, and they really want us to be able to detect automatically an unsafe abortion. However, to be able to do that, we need to collaborate with organizations like Doctors Without Borders, abortions. So it's, and then organizations can get a bit skeptical about that and not want to enter this data exchange collaboration. So again, I think it's knowledge and education surrounding AI and how AI actually comes to be and becomes validated, and also education for doctors that we're not trying to replace you. We're trying to empower nurses and community health workers to be able to leave you, doctors, the highest that you're high in the medical field in general.
Right. Yeah. So in addition to some kind of technical challenges that the previous finalists shared, and also, according to your comment, we also realized that there are a lot of challenges in terms of perception, an unproven fear of using the AI, as a fear of losing their job, and also fear of doing something which is really not known to them for their life before. And so I think this education is also one of the very, very important part that we have to do in order to also overcome those obstacles and barriers. So thank you for your sharing. So basically, I also learned a lot from you guys, especially with these questions. What are the really different challenges in your business domain? And also, it's very, very interesting to hear that. And also, as an organizations working on the global collaboration, particularly in the field of AI, there are a lot of actually interesting insights that we have to take into account. And I thank you very much for your input and contribution today. All right, so I think that the result finally came out. So maybe Joseph, perhaps you can announce the result today.
Yep, happy to do it. It's always tough to do this, right, Josh? Thanks for putting me in the hot seat, because
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Everyone did a fantastic job. Congratulations. And yeah, look, I know you had audio. And unfortunately, there are a lot of good things I think you were saying. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear it, but my sense is, you would have had, I think, a phenomenal presentation. But I think everyone did a really great job. I just want to comment, and I'll kind of tell you how we landed here. I just want to comment. I think all of you that are involved in AI, it's a wonderful place to be. If the prognosticators are correct, this market is supposed to add somewhere upwards of $14 to $17 trillion to the global economy by 2030. If you look at the number of startups that jumped into AI back in 2000, it's multiplied now by 14 times that. This is a major, major space. So all of you should be very proud of yourself. And we wish you all the best. And you can certainly reach out to me and Mikhail and Josh for anything you may need in that regard. So Mikhail and I, we did have a chance to touch base. And it almost appeared as if we were in the same office sharing notes, because our scores were practically identical. And the winner is Test AING. We thought that they did a really great job. And so mentioning my name as many times as you did during your presentation probably helped you. So congratulations in that regard.
Thank you.
But no, but seriously, I think this whole notion of the top challenges for AI in 2021 is huge. It's really, really huge. And I think that whether it's this whole computer power I was talking about, or this whole trust deficit, limiting knowledge, this whole data privacy, security, the bias problem, data scarcity, it is going to tremendously help your business. And I think your business, if operated the way you've sort of presented to us, it's going to be a tremendous resource, I think, for companies that are on this call, as well as AI startups and just AI, even mature companies in general. I think they're going to need some good strategic advisory, consultancy help from folks like yourself that understand this, and I think they'll welcome your support. So congratulations, you guys did a phenomenal job. I will shut up and let Mikhail make a few comments if he wants to do that.
Thank you.
No, congratulations to Test AING team, and congrats to all of you. I mean, it was a real pleasure for me to be here today. I was really pleased to hear more about all your solution, and a few words for the winners. I think that what you're doing is really out there, and it's gonna really bring a big added value to the current startups that are using AI. So please, I'm more willing to talk with you more in the future and follow your journey. And congrats to all of you. Josh, thank you for inviting me, and thank you, Joseph. It was a pleasure to meet you, and looking forward to follow your journey even further in the future.
So just an offer to Josh, if you can get all the startups who have been applying to you, we can help them. We offer this as a platform to audit all their solutions. This is an offering from us.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, I mean, this is really great to get the solutions from our finalists to provide the solutions to the startups applying for this session. And this is really, kind offer. Thank you very much. All right. So congratulations again to Test AING, and then also the other teams, as Joseph also Mikhail mentioned, and all you guys, that have a really, the great, really feasible ideas and technologies, and then we are really, really excited to see how your technologies get mature, and then how your business is growing. And then we are really, really happy to hear If you guys have any update in the future, please let us know. So we'll be very, very happy to keep updated with all the news from your side. So just for a quick announcement, the winner of this session will be invited to the grand final, as I mentioned. So we will have totally 10 finalists from each session, because we have 10 sessions this year. And through the semi-final, we will select 5 again, and these 5 finalists will do the final pitching at the grand final, which will be joined by the Secretary General of the ITU and some of the VIPs and as well. But all the winners of each session will be invited to due diligence process, or very exclusively, which will be provided by one of our partners, basically VC, with the possibility to get some little funding in next year, even the year after next year. So congratulations to everyone, and big thanks to our finalists and juries, and also as well as to the participants today. And also I was very happy to see a lot of interesting questions and answers in the chat room from the audience. The very interesting questions. So thank you very much also to the finalists to give the answer to them. And I hope another business opportunities and networking will be happening through this chat room as well. Again, all right. We are opening now a very quick poll with just one question about how satisfied you are in this session. Perhaps the question will be come out here in the screen. Here we go. Yeah. So how likely are you to recommend this webinar to a friend or colleagues? A single choice. Yeah, not a multiple choice. So yeah, please score yourself. Here we go. All right. And then we also encourage you guys to check out the AI for Good program online to see more sessions that may be of interest to you. And the next Innovation Factory session is to be held next month, but from October and November, we have totally 5 more sessions. And we are also going to explore some innovations from Asia. Also, we are going to also see some startups from Silicon Valley or from Canada and from other regions. Will be more exciting sessions, so please stay tuned. And then hope to see you again next time. So have a lovely day or afternoon or evening, even sweet dreams for some of you in the nighttime like me. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.